Good day and welcome to our review of SOL 2010 questions 23 through 25. Now, as you look at question 23, some of you are saying, oh, this is one of the questions we could use our STORE technique that you learned during one of the calculator technique remediation sessions. Well, we're going to do it that way, but first let's do it the algebraic way, and then we will review the STORE technique that you did learn. Now, when I look at number 23, it's asked me which is equivalent, and it looks like all that happened was we factored the numerator and we did some canceling. So let's go ahead and factor. So 8x cubed plus 12x has a GCF of 2x. So take out that GCF of 2x. And then to get what goes in this parenthesis now, you take each term and divide it by your GCF. So I'm taking 8x cubed and dividing it by the 2x, and I get 4x squared. And then I take the 12x divided by the 2x, and I get 6. And we still have our 2x down here. Now notice that the 2x is the numerator and the 2x in the denominator cancels. And we're left with the final answer, which is choice A. Now, for that technique you learned during the calculator remediation, remember this workshop you went to about 2 weeks ago? And you learned how to store values in as a variable. So let's just do that on this. We're just going to practice it. Some of you really like this technique. So just remember what you learned during that workshop a few weeks ago. When you store a value in, you cannot, it is not recommended, do not store in -1, 0, or 1. So typically, I'm going to store in 2. So I type in the 2 first, then I hit my store button, which says store. And I'm going to store that in for x, so I push alpha. And it just so happens that my x is located above that store button, and push enter. Now I have stored in for x the number 2. And you could have stored in any number that you liked other than -1, 0, and 1. So now I'm just going to type in our original. Which was, to get it as a fraction, alpha y equals. And let me erase our work here. All right, clean canvas here. All right, so let's type in 8x cubed. Then arrow out, plus 12. You have a choice of how you want to type in the x. You could use this key for x, or you could use your alpha x. And then let's type in our 2x. And we get a value of 22. Now, we type in each of our answer choices and see which answer choice also gives me a value of 22. And it looks like choice A also gave me a value of 22, so that's my answer. So that's how you would use the STORE technique that you learned during that remediation. Now look at number 24. Okay, great. You want to use that technique again, but let's first do it the algebraic way, and then we'll show you that technique. Now, what is the complete factorization of x squared minus 5x minus 14? So for this one, just remember, you're looking for factors that give you a product of 14 and give you a sum of -5. So in other words, I need to find two numbers that multiply together to give me -14, but those same two numbers have to add up to give me -5. So what I would suggest is go ahead and make a list. So For negative 14, I can have negative 1 and positive 14. I can have 1 and negative 14. I can have negative 2 and 7, or 2 and negative 7. Then I look through this list and see, well, which 2 will give me a sum of negative 5? That would be 2 and negative 7. So my answer would be x plus 2, x minus 7. So it looks like that answer choice would be choice G. Now, for those of you who want to use that store technique, let's practice that. All right. So let's bring back up our calculator. Now, it just so happens I still have the number 2 stored in. So let me just go ahead and clear the screen and store 2 back in again. It's already stored, but let's just practice it. 2 stored in for x. Now, I type in my original, which is x squared minus 5x. Then we have an option of how you access that x. And type that in wrong, so let's start it again. X squared minus 5x minus 14. So when 2 is substituted in, I'll get negative 20. Then I type in every single answer choice until I get that same answer of negative 20. And I type it in just as it looks. X minus 2. Then open my next parenthesis. Now some of you might be saying, well, it was faster to do it the other way. But go with the way that you feel most comfortable with as you prepare for your retake. Now, this gives us 0, so the answer is not choice F. I'm looking for negative 20. So let's type in the next choice. Okay, is this going to give us negative 20? Yay, it matches. So that means that my answer is choice G, because when I typed in the original, I got negative 20, and when I typed in choice G, I got that same value of negative 20. So G is our final answer. Now, let's look at question 25. Which statement could be represented by the expression n squared plus 4n? Now, so we actually have to go through and read all of these choices. So one way I prefer to do it is I want to translate choice A through choice D. So the square of a number increased by 4. So that would be the square of a number increased by 4. So it's not choice A because it needs to be increased by 4n. Choice B says the square of the product of a number in 4. So that means that we're going to square the product of a number in 4. Alright, so it's that choice B. Let's look at choice C. The sum of 2 times a number and 4 times a number. Well, the sum of 2 times a number and 4 times a number. That would be choice C. That doesn't match what we need to translate. So it looks like the answer should be choice D since nothing else worked. Now, choice D says the square of a number increased by 4 times the number. So our answer is choice D. So that concludes SOL 2010, questions 23 through 25. Have a great day.